Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the best cores for the Open Great League for Season 20. So today we're going to take a look at two Pokemon that very likely fit very well together for the next season. So this can help you for building your own teams, but also for predicting other people's teams. So if you're going to encounter a certain Pokemon in the lead, you might expect a different kind of Pokemon in the back, and you can play according to that. So if you want to see another part of this type of video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Would really appreciate this. Again, especially for the likes here. If you want to see another part of it, I will do another one. But let's start in right with the first one here. Clodsire, one of the best Pokemon, actually the best Pokemon for the new season, being ranked 1 currently. Unless, if you saw my video yesterday, Empoleon gets the Metal Claw buff by +2, then Empoleon going to be the best Pokemon for the Open Great League. This thing is going to be one Pokemon that you have to prepare for. 28 wins, 7 losses seems a bit ridiculous, to be fair as well. But we will see if like Niantic maybe even tries to balance this Pokemon in the future again. But one Pokemon that really works well together with this one is going to be Jumpluff. Jumpluff is going to be definitely a very solid Pokemon here. Kinda ground plus flying helps each other out quite a bit because this ground and poison type Pokemon being weak to also ground type moves, going to be very good for the Jumpluff because it can triple resist ground type moves on this Pokemon. Also, you being really weak to those Mud Boys with Clodsire, Jumpluff really loves to battle those Mud Boys, and also both of them got buffed this season with the fast move of Fairy Wind / Poison Sting. But there's always going to be some core breakers for any kind of core that you can run in the Go Battle League, and here there are some of them as well. For example, the Clodsire, but there's one big core breaker for this core, which there is no really way better way of going around, to be fair, which are going to be Ice-type Pokemon. And this is something that's definitely going to be, I think, something commonly for the upcoming meta. Like from what I've seen so far, Ice-type Pokemon definitely going to be very, very strong. But here as well, there are going to be a good Say-Sops for those two Pokemon together as well. And to see those Say-Sops, you're going to have to subscribe maybe to the channel, because I'm going to make a video later on for top Say-Sops for the Open Great League. So definitely check that video out then later as well. But stay tuned for that one. We can move on now to the second core. This second core here is going to be around the Gastrodon. Gastrodon, also one of the Pokemon with the biggest buffs, of course, of Mud Step. Like, Mud Step is going to be such a good move next season. I think it's actually the same as Astonish next season, but Mud Step, a lot more Pokemon have Step on it, and a lot of Pokemon have great typings and moves around it. So Gastrodon ending up at 28 wins and 7 losses as well is quite ridiculous. Honestly, I'm really curious if the meta is really like that, because 28 wins, 7 losses, that is so overpowered compared to everything else. So I wonder if it's really a tiny of a meta, or if it's going to be a little bit close to the 500 range later on. But right now, definitely one of the strongest Pokemon you can run for the next season, together with Toxapex, 2 water-type Pokemon, but neither of them have the same weakness. We're going to have a double weakness on the Gastrodon for the Grass-type, which I think is the only weakness water and ground-type Pokemon have. And then for the Toxapex, you have a weakness to Psychic, I guess not really covered here, but then a lot of Psychic-type Pokemon. I guess Malamar is going to be the only one, which apparently you can beat with both of those Pokemon anyway. And then you're going to have a ground-type weakness, which is okay for Gastrodon, where I actually could see that the Water Pulse is going to be more common than Earth Power on Gastrodon, to be fair, which would be also good for then the Toxapex. And of course, the electric typing, which is going to be very, very easily resisted by Gastrodon and completely destroyed by Gastrodon. So together they are a very good core, especially as also Toxapex is going to be great against those grass type Pokemon. As you're gonna see, core breaker here going to be other Gastrodons, which I don't really think is going to be the case, because you have your own Gastrodon. I guess it's kind of neutral. We're going to have Diggersby, which is something that, again, you would be able to most likely beat with a Water Pulse on that Gastrodon, plus you have Brine on your Toxapex. Ferrothorn is, in my opinion, the only real core breaker for this core here as well. I think that's going to be a little more of a trickier one to deal with, but I'm not too sure on how common this Pokemon is going to be. It wasn't really common the last seasons. Next core, we're going to have Dunsparce here. Dunsparce, again, a Pokemon that got buffed quite a bit for the upcoming season. I really wonder on how strong this Pokemon actually going to be, because Roxette got a little bit of a nerf, but I feel like Dunsparce is going to be so strong next season, going to be one of the best Pokemon to use, especially as you're going to have that normal typing, which is very important for Feraligatr. I feel like Feraligatr is one of the Pokemon that people did not talk enough about right now, because I think it's going to be basically the best Pokemon for the next season. I don't think it's going to be either the Clodsire or something like a Carbink or anything like this. I think it's going to be for Relegator. But yeah, this Pokemon needs a Pokemon definitely that can deal with fighting type Pokemon, I would say. And there is a classic one that can really do this, which is going to be our favorite Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff getting access to the buff variant of Swift is going to make this Pokemon even stronger and spammier, and it is going to be a pain to deal with, and especially in the two-shield scenario, it basically beats everything. So yeah, like this has basically no real core breaker in my opinion. Gastrodon still fine. We have Drill Run plus like neutral damage from the Wigglytuff. Clodsire, you can just stay in if you're going to encounter in the lead with the Dunsparce and just have another Pokemon in the back that can deal with it, like a Say-Swap again of something like the Feraligatr. Yeah, and the rest is literally just neutral. Like there is no real core breaker for this core. Like it is kind of ridiculous, but yeah, Dunsparce Wigglytuff is nearly perfect. Next one, we're going to have Clefable. Clefable also getting access to Swift plus also the buffed Fairy Wind, making this Pokemon very, very strong for the upcoming season, and a Pokemon where we kind of want to have something to deal with, most likely with those Steel plus Poison type Pokemon. So we're going to have a Mud Boy here, not really, but a Ground type Pokemon in this case, with the Diggersby. If you want to run the Mud Boy, you can also run the Mud Boy, by the way. You can run something like a Gastrodon, would also make a lot of sense with this Pokemon. But the Diggersby is going to be weak to fighting itself, so we have a good fighting type answer in the lead. So it's a little bit more fitting depending on like what you kind of want to counter with it. So Clefable countering those fighting type Pokemon that Diggersby doesn't want to face, and Diggersby can counter those Poison plus Steel type Pokemon that Clefable doesn't want to face. Both of them are going to be very strong next season. If you saw my top video for the buffed Pokemon that didn't actually receive a buff, Diggersby is basically the biggest benefiter for the next season, climbing up like I think it was like 78 points or something, or like ranks for the upcoming Great League season from rank 100 to something in the 20s is kind of ridiculous. And so this core is basically perfect. Like there is no real core breaker for this core. I feel like there is nothing that completely breaks it. I guess the closest one is Alolan and Sandslash for sure, but anything else, I guess Venusaur also can break this core. Like this kind of those two Pokemon that you might be a little bit more careful about, but the rest I think is going to be totally fine for you. Next coming up, we're going to have Pangoro. Pangoro, again, a Pokemon that got buffed this season, and is definitely one which a lot of people are looking forward to, including myself as well. We kind of need something that beats Fairy-type Pokemon, I would say, so let's go for Qwilfish. Qwilfish, super underrated, again, not a lot of people were talking about it. I was talking about it, of course, and it's going to be in very likely a video later on as well. This Pokemon is going to be insane next season. Just the coverage of it is going to be great. Having Ice Beam, Aqua Tail, Poison Sting is going to be so good for the upcoming season. Like literally going to be one of the best Say-Swaps, but also can work as a closer. But you could, for example, run out something like Pangoro, Double Water, Poison. I think this should work out super well. With Qwilfish as a Say-Swap, you can use Toxapex in the back, you can use Tentacruel in the back. Stuff like this should work out quite well. Clodsire can be a little bit of a pain for this team here, as Clodsire can definitely... Not actually, honestly, I feel like nothing is really a pain for this team. Yeah, you have like Clodsire that would in theory be able to beat Qwilfish, but especially in the two-shade scenario, you're just going to be able to spam so many Aqua Tails. It's not really a great matchup for the Clodsire either. And then you have Machamp, which, yes, it's going to be a little bit tricky for the Pangoro, but Qwilfish is going to be able to resist the fighting type damage, and it's all down to them hitting a Stone Edge. And so I feel like this team is working out quite well, and I think it's going to be one of the more common ones, being like Pangoro, double... Poison there, double poison water would make a lot of sense. You can use something like Pangoro in the lead, Qwilfish as a Say-Swap, and something like even the Clodsire in the back as like a core. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a very common one for sure, and we can move on to the next one. Malamar, another Dark-type Pokemon, kinda has similar troubles as we saw before already, but let's see what is a great core with this Pokemon. It actually doesn't even look that great on paper, which I was kinda surprised about. I think it's going to be better actually when you play it, but let's see what you can run with it. It's going to be Whimsicott. Whimsicott is going to allow you to beat those Pokemon like Pangoro here, which is going to be a little bit of a trickier one, but also something like a Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz especially is going to be tricky for you to deal with, as Cyberwolf is going to be double resisted. Superpower still hits it for like neutral damage, but everything else is going to be tricky, so we need to have something that kind of beats those Dark-type Pokemon for sure. Is it a perfect core? Very likely not, but it's nearly perfect. It's definitely one of the best ones that he can run there, for sure with it, beating most of the issues for the Malamar. You could also argue that maybe something like a Steel type or Poison type again could be very solid. You can also run most likely Qwilfish again with it, but yeah, just this core should still work out quite well. Toxapex I wouldn't be too worried about. I think Psywave, especially in the 2-shield scenario plus Foul Play, is going to be very, very good for it. Carbing I'm not too worried about it. Jumpluff I'm not too worried about for this team. Florges I'm not too worried. Actually, the only really big answer for this one would be most likely Ariados, to be fair. Like, I think that's the only really hard answer to this team, or like this core here. And so I think it's definitely going to be a solid core to run. Marowak. Normal Marowak is going to be one of the coolest Pokemon to run as well. Luckily I have a Shadow one already built, and yeah, this Pokemon again is going to be faring quite well with the Qwilfish. Qwilfish being able to beat those water Pokemon a lot of time as well, but mainly also like those grass type Pokemon, as you are going to have Poison Sting plus Ice Beam for them, and it's just a very, very neutral Pokemon to deal, like to have as a core there. Also, what was very important for those one is that you have a coverage for Flying type Pokemon, because yeah, you have mainly damage with Mud Slap and Bone Club from the Marowak. Yes, you have Rock Slide, but Rock Slide is kind of a bad move nowadays. So you have like 2 Pokemon at least that can actually hit the Mandibuzz for super effective damage as well. Even though it is still a counter for both of them, you're still going to be fine. But again, there's not really a hard answer to it. I would imagine that you're going to be able to beat Gastrodon in the 2-shield scenario with it as well. And so this team looks quite delicious, or like the core here looks quite good for the upcoming season. Lickilicky is kind of similar to what we had already with the Dunsparce before. So yeah, this Pokemon is going to be most likely the best as a safe position, I would say, but still very solid nonetheless, also in the lead. And I would think it would pair quite well with the Gastrodon as well here. Gastrodon is going to give you quite a decent coverage for some of the weaknesses of it, which are mainly those Steel-type Pokemon like Bastion. You cannot really beat easily with a Lickilicky unless you're gonna run Earthquake. Earthquake is an option on Lickilicky for sure. Yeah, here Gastrodon is going to be able to cover it up a little bit easier. But what I would want to do there, if you would want to build a team around this core, I would put something that really works out with Gastrodon mainly as your say-so position, then like something that can beat grass-type Pokemon as well a little bit easier, that can be as a say-so, would be most likely ideal for it, maybe even a Qwilfish again. But yeah, this team definitely should work out still quite well for the, or like this core should be very good for the upcoming season. Golurk, one of the Pokemon I really look forward to as well. Like, Golurk is going to be so much fun. This thing, getting up to 534 is going to be quite ridiculous, and as you're gonna see here, Wigglytuff, again, sadly going to be the best Pokemon to deal with, like, the weaknesses of this Pokemon. I actually wanted to go ahead and go for Clefable before, but while Clefable does make a lot of sense, Wigglytuff just makes more sense, because Golurk, while it is a Ghost-type Pokemon and it has Ghost-type damage, it is still weak to other Ghost-type Pokemon, and Wigglytuff completely gonna cover that weakness as well, making it basically, yeah, perfect here. Like, honestly, yeah, of course, Golurk going to be weak against like Grass-type and Water-type Pokemon, and Wigglytuff going to be weak against like Poison and Steel-type Pokemon, but both of them are kind of getting each other's weakness off again. Like, in the 2-shield scenario, I think basically everything on this list gonna die to Wigglytuff, so yeah, this is basically a perfect core again. Like, it is so strong together, especially just the normal typing helps out Wigglytuff quite a bit for the Golurk there, so for sure something you should try out together in the upcoming season. And now we have the final core for today, and again, if you would like to see more videos like this, feel free to leave a like if this helped you out there as well, would really appreciate it. But anyway, we're going to have the Shadow Alolan Marowak. You can use the normal Marowak as well, you don't have to have the Shadow variant of it, but the Shadow variant is kind of cooler to be fair. And one Pokemon that really works well with this one, and is also my favorite Pokemon in Pokemon generally, is going to be Greninja. Greninja is perfect together with the Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak going to be great against Fairy-type Pokemon, against Fighting-type Pokemon, basically exactly what Greninja doesn't want to face, also against Grass-type Pokemon, which Greninja doesn't want to face, or Bug-type Pokemon, which Greninja doesn't want to face, while Marowak is going to be weak against something like Dark-types, which Greninja can resist and usually beats as well, against Pokemon like Ground-type Pokemon, which Greninja is going to be great against. So basically, Greninja Alolan Marowak core is going to be something that I would really want to try out next season. It's my favorite core, I think, from this list as well. I think this looks like perfect basically together, and yeah, there are no real core breakers, I would say, other than Gastrodon. I guess Gastrodon is one core breaker for his team, but it's a very specific Pokemon that also is a little bit, yeah, less common most likely next season because it's not as ideal on how they changed the moveset of it. So I think this team is going to be just insanely good, and I can't wait to try it out. I guess Azumarill is also a core breaker. Azumarill plus Gastrodon can be a little bit tricky, but the rest is going to be totally fine. I guess it's kind of like a water double ghost line again, then maybe that you want to run around it. But yeah, Greninja plus Marowak, basically perfect core. This is going to be it for the video. Check out the videos on the screen, and I'll see you later for some top sales swaps for the upcoming season.